All right, everyone, Christian here from CK Wrap. So we're about to get to wrapping this trunk right here. We're gonna do this in one piece. As you can see, we've masked off the trim piece on the bottom side, and that's it. To make for easy tucking into this area over here. Everything's been wiped down. I've already taken the liberty of removing the backing paper, so we're already there. And we just kind of cut to the chase and get this going right now, all right? So we're going to stick down that side over there, and we're going to contour the film across the trunk itself, all right? And the reason why I want to do that is so that we don't have so much slack down in this area over here. So we want to contour it and bring the fingers across this way a little bit at least, which will help reduce some of the slack in that area. So let's reposition this, or let's glass this out more or less. So most of the stretch is going to come from the bottom here. As I bring it around this way, all right? And then we're going to start by bringing that down, and we're going to have reduced slack. So we just have a little bit to work out, but as soon as we go to the other side over here, there's going to be even less. So again, I'm going to bring it back just a little bit past halfway and do the same thing. Just try and keep everything in line. Pull that down. So I've got a little bit too much slack. We're going to go a little bit more here, all right? I'm just getting a bit bunched up. As you can see, the vinyl starts to fold up. So don't want that to happen. Let's not go as far back this time. So that should be a bit better, all right? There we go. So what we've done is we've basically pre-stretched this piece around the trunk. So we can start squeegeeing some of the air right at this hard edge. We're going to go from this hard edge on the top here, up and then down. I'm just going to lift this up so I can make sure I get proper air release and get these fingers out of here. I have a little bit too much slack here. There we go. So we start squeezing some of the top here. Now if you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button. This is a wide body Mercedes E55 that we're doing. So again, working everything down to that trim line. I can kind of just keep this out of it. Just give it a bit of stretch. Nothing crazy. All right. Again, let's continue to work the air out. So for the top, we're going to pull up. Glass that out properly. I keep it tacked to the window. So that it's letting the air out. So there's a nice gap here under the film. All right. I just trapped some air in there. I got a little ahead of myself. Keep Our squeegeeing nice and consistent. I'm working from about halfway right now. Now we're at the top of the trunk over here already. I'll lift the film up to create some slack. That way we're not stretching it too much. And that's all good on that side. Let's see where we gotta go from here, right about here. All right. That very much done. We just got to cut it out, all in here, all down here. So we're going to tuck it in first. What I want to do is alleviate all this tension here on the bottom. Because the area that has the most tension right here is this center piece. So before I cut or tuck it in, I'm going to just give it some slack. Heat it up, make sure we don't have any pullback. All right. So it's looking good. Doesn't want to pull back. Everywhere is looking good. All right, we're good. So let's get that tucked in there then. I'm just going to tuck it in a bit. If you have a white car that you're covering, you may want to remove a trim piece like that and wrap all the way in a little bit further. There's a chance that just by doing what I'm doing right now that you may not cover all of the paint. We are trying to cover black right now, so it's not that big of a deal because you're not going to see down deep in the recess black. It's just not going to show. It's more or less a shadow at that point. So when we're trimming this, we're going to take it and run it blade on the back side of the trim piece. I start somewhere around the middle. Keeping the blade pointed toward the trim piece, all right? Not toward the trunk. So we're going to pull that back to figure out where we are. All right, there we started there. Let's continue. Don't put too many clicks out on your blade. You'll end up cutting too deep. So just have about 2 clicks out and we're good. So what we want to do now is go over this with a bit of heat. Make sure everything's nice and flush. Now it's good, all right? We're going to get around to doing this top part right now. I'm all the way down there. So let's start near the top. Take my blade and run it on the quarter panel side, all right? Come across the bottom. And I'm going to leave about 1 inch or a 1/2 inch along the top of the window side so we can roll some of that around, but leaving it so that it's not touching the window anymore, so that alleviates the tension that we have right now with this piece touching the window. I'm kind of cutting in the gap, all right? So let's come from the quarter panel down, and then let's go up from here. Get this out of the way. All right, so we got that out of the way. It's time to work on the finesse. So this tail light here had a lot of gunk in here. It was actually really difficult to remove. It's like really goopy kind of stuff. Got most of it out. It's not a big deal that we get all of it out. We got most of it out so that we're covering most of the metal. The light fits back in there and kind of overlaps the top of this edge anyways. So always having a plan and looking ahead to see where you need to cover is always important, all right? So down here, we're gonna take a bit of heat and just contour the film slightly into where the tail light goes. We don't have to go very deep. I'm just gonna go to, there's a seam there in the metal. I'm gonna go to that. Again, I'm not cutting on the paints. I'm lifting the film and running the back of my blade, all right? These are just my hand marks because they're sweaty. All right. You can see a bit of film protruding there. Let's get that in there. The goal is just to soften the film slightly. All right? So let me grab the key and pop, actually I need the key and pop the trunk. So now we can get underneath all these edges right now. Super accessible. We're going to finish off all of this. Just got a little folds here which I want to fix. Work the film around bit by bit. This side now. When I do the corners like this, I kind of push down and round it. So I heat it, push down and round off. Got a little wrinkle here on the edge. I'm going to fix it. Just because I'm going a little bit too quickly. So for this section here, I'm going to close the trunk and actually cut it. I find it's a bit easier. Just keep it like this and then run my blade from this side on the back of it. It's actually easier if I just close the trunk, alright? See if I can even reach it. I'll start this end so that I can hold onto the film and add tension to it. All right. So now I can hold onto the film and add a bit of tension to it. So adding tension to the film will help a lot with this part because it'll keep the film a little bit more uniform. If you don't have tension on the film and you go to cut, you can get a really jagged cut. So having a bit of tension on the film will help keep your cut very straight, all right? Come around the bottom of that corner, pop it open again. So that looks good. There's a piece that I missed right here. Perfect. I'm going to go over that with a bit of a post heat. All right, that's that. So I want to finish this off here. There's an edge of metal right in here. And I need to cut this out, tuck it in very slightly. And we'll be finished in a moment. Close it again. All right, so again, there was no cutting on the car. Remove this. I'm going to post seat under here still. Perfect. So I'll show you what that looks like. All right. Show you better this way. All right, that's that. All right, so I hope this video was informative to show you on how to wrap a trunk. There are many different styles of trunks. Some come down much further than this, some come a little bit higher. This is actually a really common size trunk for most cars nowadays. They usually end up doing them in two pieces, one down here, one on top. It is all connected essentially, but there is an area for you to do a seam and do this in two pieces, which makes it a lot easier. I hope you enjoyed this video. If it was helpful, click the thumbs up. And if you want to see more, please hit subscribe. Thanks everyone. Take care.